Today I'm going to be breaking down the hair root and the hair shaft. The hair shaft has three main parts. That's going to be the cuticle, the cortex, and the medulla. So the cuticle is actually going to look like shingles to a roof, so they are scale-like cells that overlap, and this is the outer layer of the hair. So the cuticle is it performs like a protective barrier for the hair, and it also is what gives it the shine that it has. So why the cuticle is important for us is because in order to do like a permanent color or a perm, stuff like that, we have to actually open the cuticle to reach the cortex. So in order to do that, we'll have to raise the pH, and then that'll allow things to go in because that opens up those little scale-like things, and then that can allow things to go into those little spaces right there to reach the cortex, which is where everything will happen. And then once we finish with that, we'll just have to close the cuticle by lowering the pH back to what it is originally. Some hair that is more porous and stuff will not actually close as much, which is what causes it to not be as shiny because it's more open and rigid, and then that will take away the shine. So next we're going to move on to the cortex. The cortex is actually the middle layer of the hair, and this is where essentially everything will go on. This is where your melanin is located, and so that is actually what gives you your natural hair color. Fun fact, it is actually 90% of where your hair weight comes from. And then in here is where all your changes will take place. So everything will go through to the cortex, and then that is how you can change its shape, change its color, do all of that. But like I said, it is the middle layer of the hair. Moving on to the medulla. So the medulla is actually this tiny little circle, but not everybody's hair will have it. It is less commonly found in fine blonde hair. That is mostly because it's so small that, it just doesn't have room for it. So it is typically found in men's beard hair or just thick, coarse hair. But it's not involved in salon services because, like I said, everything will take place in that cortex. There's the hair shaft. Now moving on to the hair root. So the hair root has 5 parts. That's going to be the sebaceous gland, the follicle, the erector pili muscle, the hair bulb, and the dermal papilla. The hair follicle is going to be this small pocket inside of your skin or scalp, and that's just where everything's going to sit. Your hair bulb is just the lowest part of your hair root, and the hair root is from about everything that's inside the follicle and down, and the shaft will be everything that's outside, so all of that. The dermal papilla is what feeds nutrients, and it's a cone-shaped elevation on the bottom of the follicle and the bulb, and that is what gives your hair all the nutrients and things that it needs. The erector pili muscle is going to be this small muscle just right along in here, and your brain will send signals to that muscle saying that you're cold or you're scared or just something like that, and then that'll cause goosebumps, which will essentially make your hair stand up. And then finally, we're going to talk about the sebaceous gland. So the sebaceous gland will secrete sebum, also known as oil. So that'll go from there and through the follicle and outside, which will lubricate the skin, which also makes your hair greasy once it's dirty. So that is the hair root and the hair shaft broken down.